the most noticeable thing was just how quiet it was.
I really like silence.
House was always noisy.
Because here we're just over flight paths, and there's so many aeroplanes, helicopters, anything like that, that just, as the sound is just around all the time.
Like when the traffic really stops, then when like one car goes, then you kind of hear it.
There were people here all the time. They don't like people at the best of times.
We're not far from Lordship Lane and Barry Road, and there's lots of traffic goes up those roads, so there's always, in normal circumstances, there's always a rumble going on, and there was just such an absence of noise that it really was amazing to be able to hear kind of natural noises.
Or maybe I should say the
could
absence
hear
of
the birds singing.
And
at times, it was extraordinary when suddenly a plane was going over.
It was sharp. It stung. It reached into my chest and threw out the rest of my 28th year. Maybe we can hope for a better 2021. Maybe that's naive. We have been given a new set of rules to live by. This is calming. When your life is governed by rules no one talks about and never mentions, being given a set of rules is a blessing. It's simple. Follow them and you will be fine. But they're not clear. They don't make sense. They're contradictory. No one follows them anyway. Every mask placed incorrectly, taken off when the train pulls out of the station. My stomach clenches. The sick anxiety returns.
Like, I can't stop thinking about the pandemic, but it seems like the way that the world is working around me really depends on like people like constantly forgetting about the pandemic. I've been used to kind of following all these sorts of like social rules throughout my life, which I didn't understand. Now there's some rules and I understand the purpose. It's to like prevent people from getting the illness. And now I see people like not following these rules because they're not uncomfortable. It reminds me that being neurotypical is sort of like, it's not about like following these rules that you secretly know. It's like the rules are natural to you and you're just doing what's natural to you.
Remember how difficult travelling was before this happened and wonder how on earth you managed to survive it for so long. But a lot of us didn't, that's the point. My world closed in. The four walls of my flat became a safe haven. That was fine and comforting even. You can get everything delivered. No, you can't. We worried about food every day. A shielding 1-year-old doesn't have a Sainsbury's account. You've forgotten us, but you weren't really ever thinking about us in the first place.
In our house we're the perfect storm of disability, and so one thing has a knock-on effect on somebody else. She's shielding, she doesn't have a Sainsbury's account. She wasn't even one at the time. So getting them to link her NHS number with my Sainsbury's account was a mission.
It took nearly a month.
Yeah. And we can't leave these two together for 2 seconds because he will hurt her. I mean, it all comes from a good place. He loves her very much, but he loves her very hard.
There are people in this country, especially after just today, because of the government is influencing people to go back to work, not to work from home. So look, especially civil servants. I used to be a civil servant, but arguing with these civil servants to not stay at home, go to work. because London is turning into a ghost town. To come out, go to the office, interact with the real population in London, go to a local bar, restaurant, bistro, whatever it is in London, coffee house, the Queen Society, go back to be keen, share your wealth, you have to be a sardine. The thing is that all these passages have got mobile phones, ladies have got outfitted, buy a new suit. The thing is that all these passages have got mobile phones, ladies have got beauty. Yeah, it's like that. And
we cannot make music, not like we used to. We can sing quietly, as if we are trying to reach out and grab hold of people and just miss it. We curve in on ourselves. We tried to do it online, on WhatsApp, on FaceTime, on bloody Zoom. People created new ways of making work, but it was too strange. I lost interest. I didn't want to keep trying something that did not work, so I stopped. And I don't make music anymore.
I'm alright with this new normal. This is fine, I'll just live in my house, I never want to go out again. It's a gradual thing, but I kind of remembering what real life was like. I think I'd kind of forgotten the joys of being able to go out and see people because I was so content in my own little world. I want to see the one-size-fits-all society be more accepting, whether that's with, physical disabilities or hidden disabilities. Don't speak to me like, oh, we all have days like that. And it's just like, but this is every day.
In some sense, in a lot of different relationships, people are cutting each other more slack. We don't expect people to present in as polished a way. There's no such thing as a typical life now. And I kind of hope that as long as possible, there's no such thing as a typical life. I mean, I think that's sort of the entry point to a lot of, undoing a lot of ableism.
A big thing that's come out of it is the flexibility of people working from home, which makes a lot of jobs a lot more accessible if we can carry on with that flexibility and that connection. So that's what I want to see. I want to see more of that, because before, if you're a wheelchair user, then you can't necessarily get into places. One of the regulations that changed was that the local authorities didn't have to provide everything in his EHCP. They had to use their best endeavour, but that can be anything, which is why the therapists were under a lot of pressure to provide content, but they're also taking blood from folk up at the big hospitals, so... And it's back to it's only the elderly and the disabled who will be affected. I'm like, yeah, but your only is my world.
We are a perfect storm of disability. He loves her very much, but he loves her hard. The first payment covered 1 month's rent. It feels like we are being culled. As disabled people and as artists.